Hi, and welcome to this session on HMRC tax dispute case law, a roundup with Grant Thornton, UK LLP. So, with me, David Francis, and my colleague Louisa Basiri, and we'll both give you a brief introduction now as to who we are, why we're here, and what we're going to get out of the next hour or so. So, my name is David Francis. I lead our tax dispute resolution team at Grant Thornton. I've been in tax dispute world now for coming up to 23 years. First 8 years was at HMRC as a tax inspector. I did my training there. And then for the last 15 or so years, I've been on this side of the fence, helping clients navigate the ever-changing world of tax disputes. I'll pass you over to Louisa.
Hi, everyone. My name's Louisa Basiri, and I'm a director in the tax dispute resolution team at Grant Thornton. I've been with the team now for 11 years, and in that time have been assisting all types of taxpayers with disputes with HMRC, whether that's because they're under inquiry or whether they have a disclosure to make to HMRC.
Thank you. So why are we here talking to you today? Well, ultimately, the world of tax disputes is changing. We're seeing a tax authority who has got an opportunity and an aim from the current Labour government to increase the amounts of compliance activity we're seeing. We'll use our experience that we gain dealing solely with tax disputes at Grant Thornton to talk through the tactics that we use, talk through HMRC's powers, whether that's how long they can go back in terms of time limits, how they use their discovery powers, what constitutes deliberate behaviour. And we'll also look then to consider sort of some behavioural aspects, looking at reasonable excuse, looking at reliance on advisors, and more generally just understanding HMRC's approach and typically the case law that underpins that in terms of what we're seeing from a dispute angle. Why is this important now? As I said, Labour have given HMRC additional resources in the shape of 5,000 new tax inspectors by the end of this current Parliament. They're increasing the number of debt collectors that are going to be operating in that world. There is a tax gap, which we are currently seeing as around about £40 billion. And that tax gap is the difference between the amount of tax that is paid over to HMRC versus the amount that they expect for it to come through. Some of that relates to the guidance that HMRC, so people just get tax wrong, and there's a significant amount of books, both yellow and oranges, in terms of how big the tax code is. So it's unsurprising that things happen and people get tax wrong. All the way through to the other end where people knowingly get stuff wrong, and there's fraud and there's criminal attacks on the system. So there's been a body of case law that looks at the tax administration powers, and we're going to talk through some of the key cases that we see and use on a day-to-day basis, but then also use that as a way of explaining what we're seeing and what some of our tactics that we use to ensure that people are able to deal with tax disputes along the way.